So I'll be honest with you guys right now. This video that I'm making right now has been in the works for like 4 months because I've been struggling to make this. I've been struggling with words and I've been stuttering a lot because I don't have a script and I just think of things that come straight off the bat. But yeah guys, welcome to my Dead by Daylight killer tier list. I've seen a lot of DVD YouTubers make these sort of videos and I wanted to share my thoughts on where I think all the killers belong in my opinion. So yeah, 2 things I want to say before I get into this. First off, as I just said, this is my opinion, and if you disagree with me, that's fine. We're all here to have like a discussion about it. And the second thing I want to say is that the killers that are on the right side of each tier list means that they are higher than the other ones. So for example, in the B list you see that Michael Myers is higher than Deathslinger. That's because I think Michael Myers is better than Deathslinger in that specific tier. So without further ado, let's get into it. And yeah, we're going to start things off with the nurse in S tier. Now nurse is actually, you know what, let's skip the nurse. Nurse is in S tier for a reason. We don't really need to discuss why nurse is in S tier. So let's just move on to A+, and we're going to start things off with the spirit. Now, I know I might be biased with this, considering I am a spirit main. I love playing spirit a lot, and you know, you've seen me in games where I play spirit. I just completely demolish everyone. But I really think that spirit deserves a spot in A+. I was thinking about putting her in S, but that would have mean I would be properly biased and it wouldn't be an opinion, it would just be me being too nice. So I threw her in S tier instead. But yeah, her power is Yamaoka's haunting is like one of the best powers in Dead by Daylight. She can get from one side of the map to the other without being seen, and survivors have to play it safe and stealthy when playing against the spirit, and all the survivors have to hide from her as well. But with the right stuff, spirit can be absolutely devastating. If you ever see a spirit run Strider, like me, I run Strider on spirit a lot, then you stand very little chance against them. And her perks, Rancor, Haunted Ground, and Spirit Fury. I'm not talking about, when I say the perks, I'm not talking about how the perks are on the killer. I'm talking about the perks in general. Rancor is good for finding survivors and getting a free Mori. Haunted Grounds if you just want to insta-down people, and Spirit Fury, if you ever go against the Spirit Fury Billy, then you're not going to win. Oh, by the way, the perks have nothing to do with this. This is all because of their power and how people are. I'm just going to talk about the perks in general, just give you my honest opinion about them. And speaking of Hillbilly, we've got Hillbilly in A+ as well, just underneath Spirit. Now, there has been a lot of debate on who is better, Hillbilly or Spirit. I think Spirit is better than Billy, mainly because Hillbilly, yes, with his power, the chainsaw, he can get from one side of the map to the other, especially if you're in Rotten Fields. If you're in Rotten Fields against a Hillbilly, you stand very little chance. You don't stand it, well, either that or you don't stand a chance at all. Hillbilly is a monster with his chainsaw. But the only reason I think Spirit is better than Billy is because when it comes to pallets and trying to mind game people, Hillbilly isn't like, he's very easy to understand when it comes to pallets. Spirit, when she's phasing next to pallets, you don't know where she's coming. Hillbilly, you do. He's basically just an M1 killer around jungle gyms and that. But it doesn't mean that he's not good. He's still a brilliant killer. He's still a tough cookie. Even like, in my opinion, if you go against P3 Hillbilly mains, I'm going to be honest with you now, I hate them. No, I don't hate them because they're terrible or they just don't play fair. I hate them because they know what they're doing. They will destroy you in a matter of seconds. And the perks. Hillbilly's perks, Enduring, I love the perk, I love Enduring so much. Lightborn has helped me out. I don't use it a lot, but I use it on some occasions and it has helped me out a lot when playing killer. And Tinkerer, not a big fan of it. It is good for sneaking up on survivors, but I don't really see anyone running it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Hillbilly. Now let's move on to column A, and we're starting things off with the Oni. Now I'm gonna be honest right now. I was thinking about putting Oni in A+, but just like I said when I was saying that Spirit, I was gonna put Spirit in S tier. I didn't want to be too nice, so I put Oni in A+, and here's the reason why. I've had people say that Oni is better than Hillbilly, but I don't think so. And the simple reason why is because of his power. Yamaoka's Wrath. It is a good power, it's really good. But if you compare Oni's power to Hillbilly's power, Hillbilly can use his power whenever the hell he wants. Oni, he has to hit survivors. If he has to get the hit on a survivor to collect their blood to use his power, or he has to wait centuries, or he could just stand there and just wait centuries to use his power. And let's face it, who does that? Who does that with the Oni? Seriously, answer me that right now. Who does that with the Oni? No one. I've never seen anyone do that with the Oni. You are deluded if you do that with the Oni. So yeah, the simple reason why that's like I said, Oni, for the simple reason why he's an A tier is because his power requires him to actually hit survivors. He has to M1 survivors to charge his power up. But when he gets his power up, when he is using Yamaoka's Wrath and Demon Dash, Demon Fury, he can be a monster of a killer. I'd say he is a bit hard. He's more harder to control than Hillbilly. I've had some people say, if you want to master, like I've said this before, if you want to master Oni, you have to master Hillbilly. But I kind of do regret saying that because his power is not unlike Hillbilly. I mean, it kind of is, but it isn't at the same time. And also with his power, he still is like an M1 killer, but you only M1 people with his power if they're injured. And his perks, Zanshik Tactics, good for newbies. Blood Echo, I love that perk. That is my favourite perk ever. It's one of my favourite killer perks ever. If you run that on Legion, a killer like Legion, then it's annoying to go against as Survivor. And his other perk, Nemesis. It's an alright perk. I don't run it that often, but it is a good perk. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Oni. Like I said, his power requires setup. He has to hit someone to use it. But yeah, that's like the only thing that makes Oni an A tier and not A+ tier. So let's move on to the next three killers, and we have what I like to call the teleporting trio, which is Hag, Demogorgon, and Freddy. Now this one was a tough one because I did not know where I wanted to put these killers. I didn't know if I wanted to put them in. I didn't know who to put like higher, if you know what I mean. I didn't know if I want to put Freddy higher, Demogorgon, or Hag higher, and this was a tough choice to make. All three of them deserve to be an A tier, in my opinion. But in the end, and I know this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, in the end, I decided to put Hag as the higher teleporting killer. And here's why. I know people are going to judge me in the comments saying, oh, well, if you're playing as Hag and you're going against the Survivor friends, there's very little chance that you are going to kill everyone. That is true. That is true. But I have seen Hag mains. When I'm playing Survivor Friends, I have seen Hag mains completely destroy us. When I'm going against the Hag main, they can do so much damage. When people play Hag, they think when they play Hag that trapping pallets, trapping windows is how to play it. When I play Hag, I don't do that. I just trap in random spots that survivors don't expect me to trap. That is like my go-to place. If I want to play as Hag, that's how I play Hag. I just trap in random places, and the way yeah, that's oh my god, you can tell I'm stuttering because I'm terrible with this. But yeah, Hag, getting off topic. Hag is in my opinion, a great killer. People would put her in B tier, but I feel like she deserves a spotlight. Hag is definitely an underrated killer. I feel like a lot more people need to play as Hag, because she is like a devastating killer. If you go against Hag in the game, you're probably going to lose, because it's just, there's not much room and she's going to teleport everywhere. If you go against the Hag in where else? If you're going against body blocker Hag, like with the scar hands and the waterlogged shoe, you're probably going to lose, because you're not going to be able to use pallets. And her perks, Hex the Third Seal, not that good of a perk. It's alright if you want to slug people. Hex Ruin, everyone loves it, it's a community favourite. And what's the other one? Hex Devour Hope. It's, if you get that 5 stacks on Devour Hope, the survivors are fucked. Survivors are going to be screwed. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Hag. Please give the Hag some love. She's definitely underrated. More people need to play as her. Next on, we have Demogorgon. Now, Demogorgon, I can't play as him. I'm not that good with Demogorgon. I have tried a couple times, and I'll be honest, I am not that good playing as Demogorgon. But he is very good. He is a very unique killer to play as and to go against. Like for example, his ability, special ability, the Shred Attack. I think that's very fun to go against, in my opinion, and it's very fun to use. If you hit someone, especially if you're running Save the Best for Last on Demogorgon, if you shred someone, you're not going to lose any stacks. If you just keep hitting everyone and you shred your obsession, you're not going to lose any stacks with it. And his main power, where he has the portals, you place them in clever spots. You can fool survivors, but if you're good enough, if you're a good survivor and you listen out for everything, you'll be able to hear his footsteps. Because that's the main problem that people have with Demogorgon, is that he places a portal in a good spot, but when he comes out of that portal, and it's next to a generator, survivors who pay attention can hear him, even without the terror radius, even while he's undetectable. People can still hear him. And the one thing I wanted changing when Demogorgon first came out is that he had an add-on where when he shreds pallets, they would break automatically. That used to be an add-on, but then they changed it, which I'm glad the devs did. But yeah, the one thing I want changing with Demogorgon, like I've said many times, is one of his add-ons, where if he uses if he traverses a portal, he sees injured survivors. What I think it should do is, I think it should see survivors that are like 12 or 20 meters away from portals. So then, that way he knows like where they are and where they're going to. If survivors are taken out a portal, and he sees it with the of the abyss, he'll go to that portal, and if he's got the add-on, he'll know which way the survivors are going, or if they're hiding under. But yeah, Demogorgon is a fun killer to play as. I know that because I've seen videos, and he does look fun. I can't play as him, like personally, I cannot play Demogorgon. His perks, only one of them is good. Surge is his best perk out of all of them. Cruel Limits, it's not that good, but I have gotten some Cruel Limit plays in the past, and Mindbreaker, I'm not a big fan of. I don't like Mindbreaker at all. But I know Demogorgon is a really good killer. He's one of the best killers. He's one of the most like popular killers in Dead by Daylight. I mean, who doesn't love Stranger Things? But yeah, that's my thoughts on Demogorgon. His power is good, but like at loops and that, he is just an M1 killer. But if he does use his Shred Attack correctly, he can be devastating to go against. So let's move on. Oh, pardon me, sorry. Let's move on to the next killer, and we've got Freddy Boy. I love this killer. I love Freddy. I love the Nightmare. Even when before he got his rework, I still liked Freddy. Pulling survivors into the dream world, it was fun. I thought it was unique, being invisible and you know, pulling people in Dreamworld and hurting them in there. I thought that was a unique way to play Freddy. But when his rework came out, you know what? He's still cool. Even with the rework, he's still cool. Dream Snares, I can't work them, but I know if a good Freddy main can place them in good spots, then they are really, really annoying to go against. Dream Pallets, that's the way I play Freddy. I always use Dream Pallets. Dream Pallets, I love the Dream Pallets so much. Like, from a killer perspective, I would prefer the Dream Pallets to be his, like, primary power. Instead of Dream Snares, I'd prefer the Dream Pallets. But, at a survivor point of view, I can understand why the Dream Snares are his primary power. But, like, around loops, if survivors are clever and not in Dreamworld, they will memorise where the pallets are. They will memorise which pallets have been used, which pallets haven't been used, and, you know, stuff like that. And that can make, like, Freddy very, like, impossible to, like, play as if survivors are clever. And I have seen survivors when using Dream Pallets. I have seen survivors constantly go into Dreamworld and just throw down all the Dream Pallets, so I've got none to use. That has happened to me before, and it is, like, super annoying when playing this killer. But even with his power, it's amazing, especially when the Dream Projection, when he can teleport to generators. That's awesome. I love it so much, especially if you've got Pop Goes the Weasel. It's amazing. But like I said, even when you're at pallets, he's still just M1. That's easy to, you know, easy to loop. You know what? You can easily predict what he's doing. If he doesn't know what he's doing, you can easily predict what he's going to do. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about Freddy. Now let's move on to the last killer in the A tier. Now this one again was a tough one. We have Ghostface and Michael Myers to talk about now. Now, I was struggling with which one to put in A tier and B tier. Now, despite the fact that I prefer Michael Myers over Ghostface, because Michael is... I love Michael. Michael, believe it or not, was my main. Before I main Spirit, Michael was my main. But I was thinking, if we're talking stealth-wise on exposing survivors and creeping up on them, it has to be Ghostface. So I decided to put Ghostface in A tier instead. So, Ghostface, like I said, his power is Night Shroud. It's before, when he was released in the PTB at first, everyone hated it. It was annoying to play as, because people would just constantly look at you and you wouldn't be able to use the power at all. But when he got his changes, as a survivor's point of view, it still is kind of hard to knock him out. I've tried constantly. I keep looking at him, but it doesn't work. I can't knock him out as stealth mode. But, killer's point of view, his power is unique, especially since he has no red stain. I love the fact that he doesn't have a red stain when in his power. It's awesome. It's absolutely amazing. It's perfect for fooling survivors at loops. And especially when you're crouching around corners, stalking survivors, like, individually. That's another reason why I put Ghostface higher than Michael Myers. Because when Michael Myers stalks, if you stalk him at a distance, his power goes up slower. But if you stalk someone at a distance with Ghostface, it doesn't matter the distance. If you stalk him, it'll just go up in the same speed. And his perks as well. I forgot to talk about the perks with Freddy. Oh, it doesn't matter. The perks with Ghostface. Ammo Ears, I believe, is a very underrated perk. It's amazing. Thrill and Tremors. I love using that perk. Thrill and Tremors and Pop Goes the Weasel. I love combining those two perks. And Furtive Chase isn't that good. I mean, I have seen people use Furtive Chase, and it has caught me out sometimes. But it's not that good of a perk, is it? But yeah, that's my thoughts on Ghostface, and that's my thoughts on all the characters in A tier. Now let's move on to the killers in B tier, and we're starting things off with Michael Myers. Like I said, he used to be my main. Before Spirit came out, Michael Myers was my main. He was the first ever DLC killer I bought in Dead by Daylight. When I first started getting into Dead by Daylight and I said, I want some DLC killers, I'm gonna buy them, Michael was the first one I bought. Because he's just a raging, killing machine. If we're gonna compare Michael Myers and Ghostface, Ghostface is the more stealthier stalker. Michael Myers is the more destructive stalker. As soon as he gets that tier 3, survivors, they're just running and hiding and they don't know what to do. They won't do anything until his tier 3 is gone. What else is there? There's jump scare. There's so many ways to play him as well. Jump scare Myers. I love that build. I love going against it. I love playing with it. It's one of my favorite builds in Dead by Daylight. At all. Michael Myers is like a raging killing machine. You can't do anything about him, especially in real life. You can't take him down. No matter how many times you try, you just can't take him down. And his perks as well. What's he got? Save the best for last. Community favourite. Everyone loves save the best for last. Play with your food. Another underrated perk. People need to give play with your food a chance. They do run it sometimes on Leatherface, but like I said, it's no one else. But it's still an underrated perk. And Dying Light. Oh, I used to like the perk, but then as soon as I started using it over and over again, I'm like, yeah, I understand why people don't like it. Some people don't like it, and I thought they were wrong. But then after using it constantly, I'm just like, yeah, I understand why people don't like it. But yeah, Michael Myers, he's the destructive stalker. You go against it. He's considered one of the most fun killers to go against, and I can see why. Everyone loves Michael Myers. Who doesn't love him? Who does not love Michael Myers in this game? Let's be honest right now. I love Michael Myers, and yeah, that's all I've got to say about him. He's amazing. So let's move on to the next killer, the new killer, Billy Ray Cyrus himself, the Deathslinger. I like Deathslinger. I think Deathslinger is a fun killer to go against. His power, like the Redeemer, it's like a 50-50. It's very hard to play with, in my opinion, at least. If you're good at Call of Duty, which I'm not. Well, I'm not good, but I'm not bad at Call of Duty. I'm like an average player at Call of Duty. But if you're a good Call of Duty and you quickscope people in Call of Duty, then you'll love Deathslinger. As soon as you hit a survivor and you just pull them in, they're going to be in an instant panic. Especially if you're at a loop. No, not a loop. Especially at a window. If you shoot a survivor through a window and you pull them towards the window, you can hit them through the window, and it's just absolute monster. It's awesome. His perks: Dead Man Switch, Gearhead, and what's the other one? I've forgotten the other one. Oh my days! Hex Retribution. There we go. Gearhead. It's an alright one. It's like the opposite of surveillance, if anything. Because with surveillance, if survivors get off the gen, it'll be highlighted in white. But if survivors are doing generators and they touch skill checks, then Gearhead will tell you. Dead Man Switch. It is a good one, but only if you hook the obsession. And Hex Retribution. I love that Hex perk so much. I've used it before in Russian Roulette Spirit. It's so fun to play with. Yeah, his power Redeemer, like I said, it's very good if you hit someone through a window. But with pallets, if you shoot someone through a pallet, there's not much you can do really. You have to let them go. And that's all I've got to say about the Deathslinger. I think he's a very fun killer to go against, and he is fun to play as well. Let's move on to the next one, who is the Huntress. I don't like this killer. I don't like this killer at all. Oh my god, I don't like her. I don't like playing as her. Well, it's not that I don't like playing as her, it's that I can't play as her, and I don't like going against her. And the reason why, it's not because she's a bad killer. It's just because of hitboxes, that's all. That's the entire reason Huntress is in this tier, in B tier. People would put her, I've seen some people put her in A tier, but no. For me, it's B tier because of those hitboxes. I can't stand them. She is a good killer. Especially against, loops. She can just get a hatchet She just winds up a hatchet and she just throws it at you. If you throw a pallet down, she can just throw that hatchet at you and it's just an instant hit. The reason, and one thing I don't like about Huntress is the iridescent heads. I completely despise going against it. I think it should be changed a little bit. Like, it should reward higher people. I heard like some people say that with iridescent heads, it should do the same thing, but at a distance. Like, if you hit someone at a distance with iridescent head, it will insta-down them. But if you're close up, it won't insta-down them. If you know what I mean. I've heard some people say that, and that is a good idea for her. Her other add-ons, pretty balanced, pretty decent. And then her perks. Huntress Lullaby, I love that perk. If you get those 5 stacks, survivors are in a panic. Territorial Imperative, only, it's not bad. I have used it, I have tested it out before, and it has helped me go, take care of people who are in the basement. And then there's Beast of Prey that actually got changed. It would take away your red stain, but now it gives you the undetected status, but only if you get Bloodlust, which isn't that good. It's okay, but at the same time, it still isn't that good. But her like I said, her power is good for loops. If you just hit someone over a wall, and it's just a hit. And sometimes even if you cross map someone, if people get the cross map on you, it's a hit. But like I said, the only reason she's in B tier is because of those bloody hitboxes. I don't like them at all. So that's my thoughts on Huntress. Now, moving on to the Doctor. Doctor got a rework, and I love his rework! Old Doctor, I hated playing as Old Doctor. I hated going against Old Doctor. Now that he had a rework, I love playing as it. I love going against it. He is the definition of a loop stopper. You shock someone at a pallet, they can't use it, and you get the hit on them. It's perfect. The only reason I put him in B tier is because he is like, I have seen some survivors that can counter him, even when he uses the shock at a pallet. There is some survivors that can counter him. And his other ability, Static Blast, is, again, it's awesome. I love Static Blast so much, especially like, it's perfect for finding survivors unless they're in a locker, which is why I always run Iron Maiden on my Doctor so no one can hide from me. Or especially if they have Calm Spirit, and I do run Calm Spirit sometimes. Like when I'm just playing the game casually, I run Calm Spirit against Doctors. Because I think Calm Spirit is an underrated perk. But yeah, Doctor is, like I said, he's a devastating killer, and his perks, Overwhelming Presence, it's okay. I think all the perks are unique in their own way. Overwhelming Presence is good if you want to just get rid of flashlights or toolboxes or any other item. Monitor and Abuse, another perk I love. I love that perk. I love sneaking up on survivors. And Overcharge, a good perk to regress generators. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Doctor. The only reason I put him in BT is because his power can be countered like at some points, and if you're a good survivor, you can easily loop him round. Even if he is shocking you, you can easily loop him round. Now let's move on to the OG, the main guy of Dead by Daylight, and the last person in the B tier, the Trapper. I love Trapper. I absolutely love him. He is my third main. As you know, Spirit's my first. Second main actually is Ghostface, if you believe it or not. And my third main, Trapper. I love Trapper. Bear traps at pallets, bear traps at windows, stop him from looping me. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Only reason he's in B tier is because if you don't trap a pallet, and survivors are constantly looping you around the pallet, they know what they're doing. But like all other trappers, if you place them in perfect spots, they're awesome. Only complaint is I really hate going against, when I play as Trapper, I hate going against Object of Obsessions. Oh my days, they are so annoying. Like, if you're a Trapper main and you watch this video and you go against many Objects of Obsessions, you know how painful it is to go against them. The fact that you place good traps in brilliant spots and just hear them snap like that. Oh, they're annoying. And my favourite add-on for him is the Iridescent Stone, just so I can place traps and just not having to reset them. I love the Iridescent Stone so much. And his perks, Unnerving Presence. I've ran that before on Doctor. You've seen the video, Impossible Skill Checks Doctor. And if you haven't seen it, then go watch it. It's perfect. It's a really good video. I think I did a good job on that video. Brutal Strength. And again, one of my favourite perks. I love Brutal Strength so much. Just clearing out pallets as quick as I can, and kicking generators as quick as I can. And Agitation, getting people to hooks quicker, especially if you combine it with Iron Grasp. You can send people into the basement if you're that good. But like I said, with Trapper, if you don't trap a pallet, and the survivors looping you around the pallet, they'll know what to do with it. And if they see a trap, and they're injured, and especially if they're dead hard, they can just dead hard through the trap. And that's, again, it's annoying to go against, and yeah, I can't stand it. So yeah, that's all the killers in B tier. Now let's move on to C tier, and we're going to start things off with the Wraith. Again, like I said for Hag, this killer, I believe, is so underrated. He needs a buff. We need to give the Wraith some love, and just like the Hag, we need to give the Wraith love. The devs need to give him a huge buff. I love this killer so much. But he's so weak. He's so weak with his power. The fact that you go invisible is good. That's fine. But the fact that you see like little, as survivor's point of view, you see little glimmers of him. I mean, if the Wraith is close up to you, then that's fine. I understand why you see like little shimmies of him. But at a distance, really? He should be completely invisible, man. He should be completely invisible at a distance. Well, I have seen some Wraith mains. I do play a lot of Wraith sometimes. I do play Wraith sometimes, only because I think he's underrated and he needs love. But Wraith, his add-ons as well, like one of the add-ons, the disappearing ones. It's terrible, man. It needs to be changed. It needs to be changed a lot. Like, no, not a lot. It needs to be changed like so much. I don't care what they do with it. Just change it or get rid of it. Sell it on, put it on Amazon. I don't care. Just change the disappearing add-ons. And he is like, again, an M1 killer that is easy to loop and easy to run around on maps that have infinite loops. It's so devastating for this kill for Wraith. I love him so much, but he needs a buff. His perks as well. Shadowborn, good perk. It's an alright perk, especially if you're playing as Deathslinger or Huntress. Bloodhound, fun fact, Bloodhound I used to run a lot on killer. I used to play with Bloodhound a lot as killer. And Predator as well. I'm not a big fan of it, really. I mean, it is good. It does help with scratch marks, but again, it's like not that good. But yeah, please, devs, if you ever watch this, and I know you're never gonna watch this video, but devs, if you actually do come across this video, please buff the Wraith. He needs love. So that's my thoughts on the Wraith. Let's move on to the next one, which is the Plague. The Plague, dude. Plague recently got a buff because when you first played with Plague, not many survivors would cleanse. But now she gets a buff where she always starts with a pool of devotion, which is fine. And she has the add-ons, the apples, that give her another pool of devotion, which is, again, it's good. It's really good. The Plague is like one of the toughest killers to play as on console. That's why she's in C tier. If I was playing this on PC, I'd probably put her in B tier, but I'm putting her in C tier only because I've played with her a lot on console, and she is pretty hard to play as. Especially if survivors don't cleanse, you're just an M1 killer. You're just a killer that just hits survivors. You don't get to use your corrupt purge at all. What else? I do like the add-on she has, the iridescent seal. Every time survivors complete a gen, you have corrupt purge, and that is a good add-on for her. It's like, survivors, you've done a gen, there's consequences to it. Now she has Corrupt Purge, you've got to run away. That's like one of my favourite add-ons to run on the Plague. But she is just an M1 kill, like I said, M1 kill around loops. She can easily be toyed with. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about her. And her perks, Dark Devotion, underrated perk. Corrupt Intervention, community favourite perk. And Infectious Fright, one of my favourite perks. That's all I've got to say about Plague. Moving on to the next one, which is the Clown. Oh my days, this killer! The Clown, I don't like, is, in my opinion, the worst killer. I was gonna put him in D tier, but I didn't want to be too mean to him. So I've put him in C tier. Clown, like, his power is throw a bottle, it slows survivors down. It basically helps him. He's basically an anti-looper. That's basically what Clown is supposed to be, an anti-looping killer. All he does is throws bottles at windows or pallets, slows survivors down, and then he gets the hits on them. But I've tried this with Clown a lot, and Clown, he is a bit like, unless you know what you're doing with Clown, then he's a devastating killer to play as and play against, man. His perks, Colorophobia, no one really uses it. It is good for anti-heals. Bamboozle is a perk I've seen a lot of hillbillies run. And Pop Goes the Weasel, community favourite, and one of my favourites to combo with Thrill and Tremors. But he's, again, another M1 killer that's easily loopable if, you know, you don't know what you're doing with him. But if you go against a good survivor, and by the time he throws a bottle at a loop, the survivors just run away from it, because you know he's gonna they just say, oh, he's threw a bottle there, I'm gonna run away from this loop, I'm gonna go to the next loop. That's all that survivors do with Clown, and it's terrible. That's why I avoid Clown at all costs. I don't even like going against him at some point, because he's just annoying to go against. But that's my thoughts on Clown. I think he does need a bit of a buff. But hey, I'm not one to judge on Clown. I'm not a Clown main. So let's move on to the next killer, and that is Legion. Ooh, Legion. People was going far to say to put Legion in D tier, but I think Legion deserves a bit of love. He is a killer that is built for putting pressure on the survivors. You go in Frenzy, you hit as many survivors as you can, but if you can't, then if you hit a survivor, and you see like little blimps of where survivors are, but if you don't see that, then you're just stuck with trying to hunt down this one survivor. You just have to hunt this one survivor down that you've already frenzied, which is annoying, but it's okay. It's alright, and all killers, Legion again, he's an M1 killer that's easily loopable, but if used correctly, Legion can put a lot of pressure on survivors with the right add-ons, the right perks. He's perfect. His perks, and speaking of perks, let's talk about his perks. Discordance, a community favourite. Everyone loves Discordance. I love Discordance. Who doesn't love Discordance? Mad Grit, it does help against those body blocker survivors. Oh, I can't stand them. I can't stand that. I don't run Mad Grit, but if I come across a lot of body blockers, then Mad Grit would be the perk you want to use. And Iron Maiden, if you're a default Dwight and the killer's got Iron Maiden, you're screwed. And it does help out if you're a Doctor main and people are hiding in lockers. Iron Maiden does help out a lot. But yeah, his power, Feral Frenzy, the cooldown is 4 seconds. It takes a long time. It does take a long time. And even with the Cold Dirt and Joey's Mixtape, the add-ons to reduce the cooldown, it only goes from 4 seconds to 2 seconds, which isn't that big of a deal. But like I said, Legion I think deserves a bit of love. He is a killer built for putting pressure on survivors and stopping them from doing gens. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about Legion. So let's move on to the next column, column D, and we have Piggy and Leatherface. Let's start off with Piggy. Piggy has received nerf after nerf after nerf after nerf. The devs just... I think they should just leave Piggy alone at what she was. When she first came out, she had a 28 terror radius, 28 meter terror radius, which I thought was pretty unique. She was the only killer that had a 28 meter terror radius, and that was pretty decent. Combine that with Mono and Abuse, who had a 20 meter terror radius, the same as Huntress, which was pretty decent. And she had a very good endgame setup, but now she doesn't. If survivors have bear traps on that are not activated, they can just easily leave. Or they can just get the hatch. Even if the trap is activated, they can just get the hatch, which is like the only time they can escape. Unless Piggy closes the hatch. Survivors can die with an activated trap if they try and leave, which is still good. And her special ability, the crouch, moving around the map, it is okay, but if survivors like have spine shield or if they're aware of everything that's going around, it's very hard to hit survivors with Piggy. Especially when she's crouching, you hear the little little hidden blade swing going in and out, which I think should be removed from survivors' point of view. What else for Piggy that I think needs changing? The jigsaw boxes, when a poly hat goes on your head, I don't think survivors should be able to see the jigsaw boxes full stop. Even without the add-on rule set number 2, I don't think they should be able to see it. Like I said, she is still just an M1 killer that's easily loopable. If she goes into crouch and she tries to, get the ambush hit on you at a loop, survivors I've seen, even I do this sometimes with Survivor, I will just, if she's crouching down, I will just run away from the loop, go into a different loop, because I know she's like, okay, she's crouching, she's think I'm going to sit at the pallet, I'm not, I'm going to run away from the pallet and go to a different one, and she's just going to think that you're at that pallet. She's an easily loopable killer, she's easy to toy with, and she needs a buff. Just leave Piggy alone. Give us old Piggy back. Give us the end game Piggy, because that end game Piggy put on a lot of pressure. Especially the impossible skill checks on Piggy when survivors were searching the jigsaw boxes. I don't know if that still affects it. By all means, let me know in the comments. But yeah, it was a pain in the ass to go against. That's my thoughts on Piggy. I think she's still a good killer, but she just needs a buff, and she's easily loopable. Now let's move on to the last killer of the list, Leatherface. He is the devs have admitted Leatherface was a rushed killer. He was rushed when he first came to this game, and he needs a rework. He really does. His chainsaw barely does anything, especially if you're at a loop and he's revving up the chainsaw. He gets slowed down so much. My days, Leatherface. You need a huge buff, man. Especially if survivors are looping you around the pallet. He's not going to be able to chainsaw you. The only thing he's going to be able to chainsaw with his power is the pallet. He's not going to be able to chainsaw survivors unless they're stupid enough and walk away from it. Leatherface needs some love, and his perks are good. His perks are really good. Barbecue and chili, everyone loves it. Franklin's Demise, I love that perk. If I see any flashlighters or people with keys, I'll put on Franklin's. And Knockout, good perk if you want to slug people. But he's just an M1 killer that's easy to loop, and even with his chainsaw, he's still easy to loop. Leatherface needs some love. He needs a rework right now. What he should do, he should just be able to run around with his chainsaw, like just keep it revved up, like Oni, just run around with his chainsaw as much as he wants. He needs a change, or just give him the ability to throw his chainsaw. He does that in the films. Just let him throw his chainsaw. Oh my god. But yeah, Leatherface is like so weak. He's so boring to play as, and he's easy to go against in my opinion. He needs some love. But yeah, that's my tier list. That's my tier list for all the killers in Dead by Daylight. Feel free to share your opinions in the comments, because I love these group discussions on Dead by Daylight. They're so fun to do. And let me know if you in the comments what you think of my tier list as well. Just see if you agree or disagree. But I'm gonna end it here. I'm actually gonna go and play some real Dead by Daylight. Well, guys, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.